Good afternoon. This is Charles Dalton with the National Weather Service in Little Rock, and this is a multimedia briefing on the winter storm expected to affect Arkansas on Wednesday, March 4th through the early morning hours of Thursday, March 5th. Late tonight and into Wednesday morning, a strong cold front will move through the state. Subsequently, this will usher in frigid air mass into the state of Arkansas. Sub-freezing temperatures and subsequently wintry precipitation are expected to arrive around daybreak in the northern parts of the state, midday to early afternoon for parts of central Arkansas, and finally in the evening hours in the south. Wintry precipitation is expected to affect the entire state of Arkansas, and snowfall accumulations could be significant, as much as 3 to 6 inches in the north and northeast parts of the state. And as a result of the expected weather, you can see that the state of Arkansas is covered by a number of watches, warnings, and advisory, with much of the state remaining beneath a winter storm warning effective from tomorrow morning through late tomorrow night. Looking at satellite imagery from this morning, you can see that we have an upper level low located off the southern California coast, as well as a trough of low pressure diving south from Canada across the northern Rockies. As the upper level low begins to shift east and the trough continues to dive south, this will interact and help to produce widespread precipitation across the state of Arkansas. Looking at the surface map from this afternoon, you can see that we have a cold front located just to the northwest of the state, with a warm front south of Arkansas across northern Louisiana. As mentioned, though, the upper level low out west and the trough diving through the Rockies will help to push this cold front south into the state. So by midnight tonight, the cold front should be located across central Arkansas, with precipitation beginning to break out behind the front. And then by 6 a.m. Wednesday, the front should be located across the south part of the state, with widespread precipitation ongoing behind the front across the state of Arkansas. So now that we've discussed the timing of the cold front and the location of the cold front, let's discuss the cold air timing. So the black line in these images will represent temperatures right around freezing. And you'll see how they progress through the day Wednesday. So this is 6 a.m. Wednesday with freezing temperatures just in the northwest part of the state. And as we go to 9 a.m. Wednesday, you'll see that the freezing line's not progressed very far south through the Ozarks, but the cold air is beginning to spill around the Ozarks in the eastern part of the state. So by 9 a.m., Searcy, Batesville areas in that part of the state will be at or below freezing. By noon, the freezing line's approaching the I-40 corridor throughout the Arkansas River Valley and is beginning to approach the I-40 in the eastern half of Arkansas as well. Notice that behind this line we've fallen into the 20s across the northern parts of the state, so very cold air spilling southward through Arkansas. By 3 o'clock, the freezing line should be through the Little Rock metro area and should be approaching Hot Springs. We're also through Clarendon and Brinkley, and we're approaching Pine Bluff and Stuttgart in the eastern half of the state. In the western parts of Arkansas, freezing temperatures are encroaching on or possibly moving south of areas like Mena and Mount Ida. Then as you go to 6 p.m. tomorrow evening, you can see that frigid air is now firmly entrenched across the state, with much of the Little Rock National Weather Service forecast area at or below freezing. And then by midnight tomorrow night, most of, if not all of Arkansas is below freezing, with most of the state now down into the 20s. And as temperatures fall through the day, precipitation types will begin to change from rain to some type of wintry mix and finally to all snow. Here at 6 a.m. across the state, you can see that we're mostly rain, with wintry mix beginning to creep into the northwestern and north central parts of Arkansas, with that being a sleet and freezing rain or sleet and snow mix. By noon, you can see that the wintry mix has spread almost to the Interstate 40 corridor in central Arkansas, with precipitation type now becoming mostly snow in the northwest part of the state. And the transition zone will exist between a freezing rain and sleet to a sleet and snow mix, and finally to snow as you go, the further you go northwest. By 6 p.m. tomorrow evening, freezing temperatures will have spread into the southern parts of the state. So you can see here the wintry mix will exist across much of central and southern Arkansas, with the northern parts of the state becoming predominantly snow. And then finally by 11 p.m. tomorrow night, mainly snow across the central and northern half of the state, with a wintry mix of sleet, snow, or freezing rain existing across the southern half of the state, or southern third of the state. So with all of that said, here's what the storm total snowfall forecast looks like. If you look at the northern half of the state, anywhere from 2 to 6 inches can be expected. And again, that's snow and sleet accumulations. Here in the Little Rock area, 2 to 3 inches is what we're looking at. But as you move up into Mountain Home and Batesville and areas in that part of Arkansas, you're looking at 3 to 6 inches with possibly locally higher amounts. So in summary, a winter storm is expected to affect Arkansas from roughly daybreak Wednesday morning through late Wednesday night or the early morning hours of Thursday, March 5th. Widespread winter precipitation is expected with 3 to 6 inches of snow and sleet possible across the north and northeast parts of the state. 2 to 4 inches of snow and sleet across central Arkansas, and finally 1 to 2 inches of snow in the southern and southwestern parts of the state. And it should be mentioned that some light icing will be possible in the south and southwest as well. Thank you for joining us on this multimedia briefing. If you need more information, feel free to check out our social media sites on Facebook or Twitter, as well as our official webpage for the latest forecast information.